all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Come back to you and yours on the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that you and yours came through the most recent devastating event here in the great state of Louisiana. Obviously, by now, you know we're talking about Hurricane Ida and are none the worse for wear. A lot of you still, as a matter of fact, as I was walking out of the house this morning, heading over here to 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Bayou Smokehouse, the home of Old School Barbecue, that has reopened, by the way, for those of you needing that barbecue fix. The last number I heard walking out was that we had just fallen below 400,000 of our fellow Louisianians still without power. That number, hopefully, because we are now in excess of a week post-Ida, will start to come down faster and faster and faster. It is one of those things that we deal with regularly here in Louisiana. And sadly, anytime you have an event the magnitude of Hurricane Ida, the widespread nature, the major metropolitan areas so impacted, it only stands to reason, and conventional wisdom says that you're going to have more and more and more people using generators until their regular, normal, if you will, electric service is restored. And of course, anytime you have that many more people using portable generators, sadly, we end up with more people running into problems, health problems, dealing with generators. As a matter of fact, the Louisiana Department of Health yesterday reported so far there have been 141 visits to emergency rooms and hospitalizations because of carbon monoxide poisoning. As a matter of fact, 4 people at last count had died as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't know if it is listed on the box that most generators come in, but if you have yet to purchase one, let me wholeheartedly recommend a carbon monoxide detector is as essential as the generator itself, particularly if you are one that is not accustomed to using a generator. Typically, what will happen with many of us, as we watch the storm approach, we start to get the forecast as far as intensity, strength, landfall, etc. We'll normally say, okay, boy, this is going to be a Cat 4 or a Cat 5. We're probably going to lose power. I need to run out and get a generator. And of course, in getting the generator, typically you will think about things like a transfer switch or heavy-duty extension cords, things of that nature. But many times, a carbon monoxide detector is the furthest thing from your mind. And unfortunately, that is the one thing that will really get you in trouble if you are not a regular generator user. As a result, the Office of the State Fire Marshal issued a statement that reads as follows: always place generators at least 20 feet away from your home. Look for any air entry points that, if not properly sealed off, could lead to carbon monoxide getting into your home. Places like windows, doors, air intakes, nearby dryer vents or crawl spaces. They also, as I just mentioned, caution to be sure to have a CO detector. Also, give generators plenty of break time that will allow concentrated exhaust to clear away from the area. Open windows and doors during that break time so that any concentration of carbon monoxide that may have accumulated in the home will be flushed out of the home. Now listen, y'all, I get it. Some of you are probably saying, well, that's easy for y'all to say. Y'all not sitting in this house that's hot as all get out because we don't have air conditioning. I get all that. But at the end of the day, we want you guys and girls to make it through this okay. There is nothing more tragic than to get through the actual hurricane itself, only to turn around and suffer hospitalizations or death because you didn't use a portable generator in the manner that is prescribed. At the end of the day, y'all, getting through the hurricane is one thing, but safety has got to be paramount on the back side of the storm. It is so very tragic to think that so far 4 people, having ridden out the storm, made it through okay, only to turn around and use something that is designed ideally to make life bearable post-storm, to only turn around and have it take someone's life. Again, 141 hospitalizations, trips to the ER, staying overnight or longer because of carbon monoxide poisoning have been recorded so far. Now, I guess, and don't take this as gospel, it is simply an observation. Considering at one point in time, immediately after the storm, in excess of 1 million of our fellow Louisianians were without power. One could conceivably make the argument that 141 people misusing a generator out of 1.1, 1.2 million people is not a bad percentage. Well, I would beg to differ in that regard, because as a Louisianian, it just breaks my heart to see people get through the storm only to turn around and be hospitalized, or one of their loved ones, or yourself for that matter, lose your life only because you're trying to make life bearable, trying to fire up that portable AC unit, trying to get save food in the refrigerator or cook a hot meal. All of these things require electricity. And at the end of the day, guys and girls, safety can save us all a whole lot of heartache when all is said and done. And speaking of electricity, I saw a report yesterday. And by the way, for the thousands of individuals that are now in Louisiana helping out with post-hurricane recovery, God bless y'all. Thank you so very much, because as you all well know, we certainly need the help right now. But I'm watching some news coverage yesterday, and bless her heart, I don't know how long she's been in Louisiana, but I just chalk it up to charging it to her head and not to her heart, because obviously her heart was in the right place. But one of the local news stations had on a young lady, and they were talking about how all these workers are in various communities trying to get the electric grid back up. And she made the statement, if you see them in your neighborhood, be sure to make them feel welcome, give them a drink, bring them a sandwich, whatever. Again, I don't know if she's a native Louisianian or if she's been through this any number of times like we real Louisiana folks have. But folks with the energy companies will tell you, if you see folks in your neighborhood, if you see them in your yard, stay away. Allow them to do what they do. They are trained professionals. And again, speaking of an absolute tragedy, listen, we're Louisiana. I get it. I understand. When we see people, we want to feed them. When we see people, we want to make them feel welcome. When we see people working out in that hot, humid South Louisiana weather, we want to give them a cool drink. I get that. But understand, you could be putting yourself in harm's way. These are trained professionals, Entergy, Clico, Demco, all of these folks, they typically take care of their linemen or line women, or I guess in today's politically correct environment, they're line people or line persons, whatever the politically correct term is. My point is, for your best wishes as Louisianians, wanting to take them something cold to drink, bring them a sandwich, it's that much less time that they have to devote to the job at hand. And I understand, but Clarence, it's just me, it's just the one crew that I'm trying to help. But now multiply that times a couple 100,000. And the next thing you know, we could have had power on a day or two earlier. And bless their hearts, when you come out with that cold drink, they're going to be as nice as possible. Well, no, ma'am, thank you. No, sir, thank you. We've got enough. Then you want to talk a little bit. Well, how many homes have y'all put back on so far? When you think y'all going to be? Listen, I get all that, particularly if you are sweltering in your home. But at the end of the day, let them do what they do unencumbered. Not to mention the fact that there is the possibility you could be putting yourself in harm's way. Let these folks rock and roll the way they are trained to do. And hopefully we will all get through this that much faster. And for those of you that have reached your breaking point, you were finally able to find a generator, got that puppy home, finally found some gasoline, propane, whichever model that you end up purchasing. I cannot stress enough, y'all. Take the time to thoroughly familiarize yourself with that appliance. It is a wonderful thing. It can restore normalcy in your household. But as we've seen over the last week, it can have deadly consequences if not used correctly. Tell you what, let me get this first break. of today's show out of the way. When we come back, the very first post-Ida edition of Now That's Just Stupid. That's up next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on AIRLINE.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with MANDA Fine Meats. Here at MANDA, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. MANDA Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. MANDA Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it MANDA every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. If by chance you are new to the show, new to the station, new to the area, you may not be aware that we have instituted a new segment on the show that typically we air every Tuesday, second segment of the show, that is entitled, Now That's Just Stupid. It is in response to the ever-increasing level of stupidity in our country. This is not, mind you, ordinary STUPID. That's just regular garden variety stupid, of which we all know by now there's plenty of that to go around. What we're talking about here is STOOPID, as the spelling shows you. Now that's just stupid. We're talking upper echelon, off the chart, stupid. We start this edition talking about what is arguably one of the most noted institutions of higher learning in the entire United States of America. Harvard. So you know this is going to be a good one, right? To show you how virtually every single institution in this country has been infiltrated by the left. Harvard announcing last week that they have 40 different chaplains on campus, and they've just elected a new president of their chaplains organization. Greg Epstein, 44 years old, is the new president of the chaplains at Harvard University. Ironically, Greg Epstein, wait for it, is an atheist. You heard me right. These clowns have elected as the president of the chaplains organization an atheist. He calls himself a humanist and is scheduled to take over as the president this week. Get this, his words, quote, "There is a rising group of people who no longer identify with any religious tradition, but still experience a real need for conversation and support around what it means to be a good human and live an ethical life." By the way, he is the author of the book Good Without God. The quote continues, "We don't look to a God for answers. We are each other's answers." His bio, by the way, prior to this, serving as the humanist chaplain at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, says that he's been teaching students about the progressive movement that centers people's relationships with one another instead of with God. According to his bio, quote, "Special areas of interest include ethics in technology, meaning and purpose beyond religion, existentialism and humanism in literature and popular culture, developing healthy masculinity from a feminist perspective, secular humanistic Judaism, racial injustice and healing, and the philosophy and practice of interfaith works." Yeah, that sounds like the guy we want in charge of the chaplains. Now, you can't make this stuff up, y'all. You can't. Try as you might, you can't make this stuff up. But here's the scary part. We are talking about what is arguably the most notable institution of higher learning in the entire United States of America. We are talking about an institution, Harvard, that in many circles is held in the highest of esteem. We are talking about an institution that people aspire to, and for those that make it to that level feel, I've arrived. I mean, I'm at a point now where the sky's the limit, you know, and this is what is taking place in the halls of academia in America. Now just imagine, if you will, if they're doing this kind of stuff at Harvard, imagine what they're doing at other schools. And quite frankly, were it not for the fact that it's Harvard, you probably would have never known about it. You probably wouldn't have heard a peep about it. And of course, there will be those out there, other schools, institutions of higher learning that will say to themselves, well, if it's good for Harvard, it ought to be good for us. I was trying to envision when I saw this story, if my child were attending Harvard and I were footing the bill, what I would think about this. I mean, I don't even want to venture a guess. Marty might know his child got an invitation at Harvard. How much they charge tuition at Harvard? Too much. Nailed it. Nailed it to the penny, Marty. Too much. Too freaking much. And at the end of the day, if it's being done at Harvard, you can pretty much make book, y'all. It's in other places too. Sadly, this guy is going to be the president of the chaplains. So don't be too surprised when you turn around and you hear or see something else absolutely stupid coming out of Harvard and, quote, religious circles there. Just saying. Secondly, speaking of things you may not have heard about, if you are anywhere near a baby boomer and anywhere near just an average American growing up, like me, you were probably a big comic book fan. All the young people now are going, what's a comic book? What's a comic book? We all grew up, boomers, watching and reading Batman and Robin, Superman, Aquaman, Fantastic Four, Justice League of America, and on and on and on. And never once did any of us feel the need to know, and never did any of the comic book publishers feel the need to tell us what the sexuality was of the comic book characters. Don't care, not my business, don't want to know. Well, after all these years of Batman and Robin in DC Comics, DC Comics decided recently, you know what? It's time for Robin to come out the closet. You heard me right. Robin, of Batman and Robin's fame, has now come out as bisexual. You know, for individuals that are relentless in telling us the government needs to stay out of my bedroom, the government has no business at all in my sex life. But these folks are the first ones to put it in our faces. Why, after all these years, DC Comics would feel the need to let everybody know that a fictional character, and that's the thing. We're not talking real life here. We're talking freaking make-believe. It's a comic book, for God's sake. But you feel the need to come out, or let Robin come out, pardon the pun, as bisexual. If you ever wondered where we are going as a country, ironically, in this one segment, we see a regression from one, arguably, the most notable institution of higher learning in America, and two, the time-honored tradition of comic books. You might remember I started this segment off telling you how the left has infiltrated every single institution in this country. When you are putting your warped ideas into higher ed and everything all the way down to freaking comic books, that should tell you everything you need to know. Just saying. Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. Let me get this done. We'll talk more with you next as we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Other one. Oh, well, wonders never cease. Huh. Okay. I could make a joke about that, but I'm going to leave that alone. Because, primarily, if you are like me, in any way, shape, or form, you love this country, and you have an affinity, many of you just a basic appreciation for what is hands down the finest fighting force on this planet, the United States military. You are still smarting, still incensed, still utterly embarrassed over how the current administration has handled the situation in Afghanistan. It is, you know, for a guy who, for 40 plus years now, has made his living with words. This entire Afghanistan debacle is hard not only to stomach, but to describe. We all know that in the history of this country, the one thing close to the top of the list, if not the very top of the list, was the fact that as Americans, we don't forsake our own, particularly as it pertains to the military. We don't leave our people behind. And as Americans, that sentiment permeates our way of life. It's not just the military that we don't leave our own behind. It's Americans in general. We still, as we speak, don't have a concrete number of Americans, Jen Psaki, stranded in Afghanistan. Numbers range anywhere from a couple hundred to close to 1,000. Now, these are just Americans, y'all. These are not our Afghan allies. These are not folks that White House Jen Psaki officials don't want to leave. These are individuals the Taliban is preventing from leaving. And of course, the mainstream media, the collusion buddies that they are with the Democrats and the White House, want to keep this out of your sight as much as possible. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to answer for this. You know, to show you the absolute, utter lack of intelligence on the part of these folks when dealing with international matters. We were off air last week because of Ida. And it was right about that time, just prior to that, we found out that the White House and the State Department thought it would be a good idea, since the Taliban are such reasonable people, let's give them a list of Americans and Afghan allies that we need their help in evacuating. Maybe that should have been in the last segment. Speaking of, now that's just stupid. Who in their right freaking mind does that? You give the Taliban a list of Americans and our Afghan allies that we need their help in evacuating. You know what many people there are calling this now? A kill list. It is a list of people that the Taliban are actively looking for with nothing but the most vile of intentions in their minds. But those who are running the ship thought it would be a good idea. Now, I've been around long enough, y'all. I know that in any group of folks, you're going to have one doofus. In any group of people, you're going to be able to find at least one idiot. But typically, the rest of the group, at least one, hopefully most of the group, will say, "Nah, bruh, that's a bad idea. Nah, bruh, we don't need to do that." Well, why not? Well, if we do it, here's what could happen. Typically, in that group, the one doofus will come up with the idea, "You know what? We ought to try this." Somebody is supposed to say, "No, bro, that ain't gonna work. That's a bad idea." Apparently, nobody in the freaking State Department, the White House, or anybody affiliated with this debacle had the sense to say, "Nah, bro, we don't need to give this to the Taliban." Now, there are reports that the Taliban, with this list, they are using biometric instruments for identification of people on the list. And what do you think is going to happen to those folks when they find them? Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Kamala. Thanks, State Department. I told y'all before, there is a pattern here. Remember the last time Democrats were in charge of the White House, what happened? We lost an embassy, and we lost American lives. Benghazi. Ring a bell? The last time Democrats were in charge of the White House, we lost an embassy and American lives. The very next time they get the White House, we lose a freaking country and American lives. Oh, and about $85 billion worth of military hardware that the Russians and the Chinese will get their hands on and reverse engineer. The Taliban and ISIS-K will get their hands on and in all likelihood, God forbid, use against us in a terror attack. And these yahoos thought it would be a good idea to give the Taliban a list of people, since y'all such accommodating folks, that we need your help to get out. You know, as insulting as that is, you know what's even more insulting? If you believe the numbers, 80 million of you folks voted for this clown. That's the real insulting part. If you believe the numbers, 80 million of our fellow Americans voted for this stupidity. Of course, now, it's not the only stupid stuff the Democrats and this administration have done. Look at our border. Completely, totally out of control. Look at crime all across America, exploding. Look at inflation as we restart the economy. Been to the gas station lately? Been to the grocery store lately? Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you. And of course, now, heard just this morning, walking out the house, after Joe promised, "Oh, we're going to get COVID under control," y'all realize there's a new variant out there as well, right? 80 million of y'all. Yeah, but Clarence, we didn't realize, that they were going to be doing all this. Well, you can thank ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN LOL, MSLSD, USA, can't say that on TV. You can thank all those folks. because they are the ones that colluded with the Democrats to keep the truth from you. They are the ones. Can you imagine had a Republican, not to mention Donald Trump, had he hidden out in his basement for the whole freaking campaign, can you imagine what they would have said? Just a little something to make you go, And now we find ourselves where we find ourselves. Crime exploding, border totally out of control. Afghanistan. Do I need to continue? You know, you can gauge typically how an individual is going to perform by looking at what happens right up front. At your job, when they bring in a new CEO, when they bring in a new president, there are problems among the ranks. You are keenly in tune to the first thing they do. Can you tell me one thing, just one, that's been a resounding success by the Biden-Harris administration? I'll give you time, because you're going to need it to come up with one. Can you tell me half? Anything that gives you any kind of hope that your vote was worth it? Didn't think so. And while I don't relish being the harbinger of bad news, guess what? We still got 3 years and change of this foolishness to go. And yet, if you believe the numbers, 80 million of y'all voted for this clown. We tried to tell you. God knows we tried to tell you. But did you listen? No, you called us all kind of ugly names. You tried to take our rights and our freedoms. How's that working out for you? That's what I thought. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Sit tight.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with MANDA Fine Meats. Here at MANDA, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. MANDA Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. MANDA Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it MANDA every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. I knew, although I was desperately hoping it would not materialize, I knew that there was the possibility with the number of my fellow Louisianians affected by Ida that with the scarcity of resources, gasoline particularly, I knew that there was the possibility that folks attempting to secure resources, we see some ugly incidents. It was, I want to say, the day after, 2 days after Ida made landfall, I ran to neighborhood store to get something. I forget what it was. And I had gassed up already. But as I turned the corner into the store parking lot, I could see a line maybe 4 blocks long of folks trying to get to the gas pumps. And of course, there's a guy that was attempting to cut in the line, telling the guy at the pump, say, man, when you leave, would you mind backing out so I can get in here? And the guy looked at him like, dude, don't you see all these people that have been in line for an hour or more? Do you really think it's fair to them if I were to do this? So eventually, the guy had to acquiesce. Yeah, man, but I don't need but a few dollars worth. Yeah, I'm sure they don't need but a few dollars worth as well. You know, I'm not going to disrespect all of these people. I'm not going to disrespect the process just because you don't want to wait like everybody else is waiting. And at one point, it got pretty heated. So I'm saying to myself, wow, this is taking place now. Just imagine what it's going to be like a couple days from now when folks' nerves are frayed. They've been sitting in an unair-conditioned house or a damaged house for God knows how long. And then, sure enough, we have the first reported shooting and fatality in a gas line. Listen, y'all, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, and I get it, I understand. Clarence, you got to understand, I ain't had no air in the house for a week now. I get that. But they got air in the parish prison. They make sure they have air. They got a generator. And if you want to spend the next 20 to life there, then grab your piece when you go to get $10 worth of gas. It's, I would say, common sense, but I'm pretty sure when I was getting on the interstate, I saw common sense standing there with a sign saying, looking for a ride out of town. Really, y'all? You gonna shoot somebody in the gas line and you're the one trying to cut in the line? And you know what's so ironic here? The person that did this Try to cut in front of him and see what happens. The individuals typically that will go and try to cut the line in front of them and see what happens. I've told you this story before. I go to a gas station once, and guy pulls in, and I mean, he's got that rap music just blaring. Every window in the store is shaking. Every car in the parking lot shaking. Every other word is a curse word. And bless her heart, there's an elderly woman at the pump trying to get some gas. And you could see the look on her face. It was one of those, oh my God looks. I mean, the most vulgar lyrics, loudest volume you've ever heard in your life. And the guy gets out of his car, leaves the music on. So I'm standing in line behind this guy. And I tell him, I say, excuse me, brother. I don't mean no harm, but maybe next time you might consider turning it down a little bit. That brother looked at me and said, and I quote, didn't bat an eye. That's my radio. I paid for it. I listen to what I want, the way I want, when I want, as long as I want. I said, yes, sir, brother. Have yourself a wonderful day. I realized right then, this clown has no idea what freedom truly means. Yes, you have the right. It's your radio. You got the right to listen to what you want, the way you want, anytime you want. But here's the irony. Pull up in front of this same guy's house. Put on some Dean Martin, or put on some, what's Gomer Pyle's real, Jim Neighbors. Put on some Jim Neighbors, some Dean Martin, or better yet, some Johnny Cash. Turn it up sky high and sit there in front of his house. Now you're going to have to shoot him if he don't shoot you first. See, we've got to understand, y'all, as Americans, your rights only go this far, the tip of your nose. After that, you are stepping on somebody else's rights. Unless and until we understand that and appreciate that, we will continue to see people getting shot in the freaking gas line because the hurricane has us looking for gas. Y'all, we're supposed to be better than that. We are supposed to be better than that. This ain't our first rodeo. We have been here before. And at the end of the day, we're all Louisianians. We are all in this together. But unless and until we hold each other accountable, it will only get worse. Just saying. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Bayou Smokehouse, the home of old school barbecue, is where we tape the show every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you never know who you're going to see when you walk through the door. As a matter of fact, today, week 1 of the Roger Cador Show. You just might happen to see the big guy himself if you make it on by for lunch. That being said, my time's up, y'all, and I got to go. But this day, just like any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's still the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. See you tomorrow. God bless.